Hello everyone. Hello Graham. Hi Mike from Dallas, you alright? Hi, how's everyone doing? Thanks so much for joining. Really appreciate it. It's good to see such a number of people in here so early. I'm here and I've got Ofer waiting in the wings. We've also got Nick, who is the excellent support person at ToneWoodAmp. So yeah, really this is an opportunity for you to all ask questions about the new ToneWoodAmp2. Any ideas, any effects that you want to hear, we're totally open to it. We're going to let you drive this session. We have some things we want to talk about, but really it's down to you. So to say hello, I'm going to bring on Ofer Webman to talk a little bit about the production update, where ToneWoodAmp is at, and some of the exciting things he's been working on. So here he is. Hello,
Hey,
Ofer.
Connor.
You all right?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Hi.
Doing good. Give us all an update then. So what you've been working on. I'm aware of some of the cool new features in the app, but tell everyone where it's at.
Well, we can demonstrate maybe later a bit the new thing that we adding to the app. We are pushing as much as we can to production. We received some sample of plastic that had some issues last week, but already expecting to receive today new pieces that hopefully will resolve all the issues. We added some new features to the hardware, last minute features. Maybe we'll talk about it later, but just doing our best that we can, get into fast production and ship those as soon as possible. That's what we do. Yeah.
It's amazing to see it all come together. And I have a prototype here, and this prototype is obviously using prototype plastics. And I've seen what the finished plastics look like. Have you got an example there?
Yeah, I actually have one here. Yeah. That's
Cool.
the one we still have some issues, but that's definitely much closer to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's super sleek looking. I'm really excited to see what this finished version looks like. But yeah, I've got this prototype, and I've been using this prototype now since I think it's September, October.
Probably.
And I absolutely love it. I'm using this thing daily. I noticed there was a question about batteries and battery life, and this is a serious upgrade. The fact that you're not having to deal with AA batteries anymore, and you can just run directly off the battery inside the ToneWoodAmp and then charge it up by a USB-C is excellent. In fact, I know this is a bit off topic, but I was just traveling recently, and when I got there, I opened my laptop bag and I actually realized, without even thinking, I had everything that I had one cable which could charge absolutely everything. It could charge my laptop, it could charge my iPhone, my iPad, any other devices that I had with me, even my toothbrush. And I was like, that's the same cable that charges the ToneWoodAmp2. So, it's really nice that you've got that convenience now.
Also the time that you can play with the new battery. I mean, testing at least that I'm doing, the way I play, I get to much more above 10 hours per charge. Yep. So I might charge the unit once every other week.
Yeah, it's really cool. Well, I think I'll do a little song just to give everyone an idea of what we have here. You can see that on my screen I can pull up the app like that. So if anyone wants to see what kind of effects I'm using or wants to hear a particular effect, I noticed there was a question about series of parallel. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into that. But this is really an opportunity to deep dive into the effects. So let's start with a preset that I made. It's actually a super clean, nice sounding reverb. And just to drill into the reverb a little bit, I'm using a plate reverb here, and I've got it on the third option. So basically, you can choose between the type of reverb, like hall, and then within each type, there are kind of three, what I would call like volumes. How would you describe it, Ofer? Like size, I guess, and decay?
Yeah, you can call it size stages. Yeah. So you don't need to all the time adjust your length or decay, you can just move between those three and get different kind of temperaments of the same type of reverb.
Yeah. And I just noticed, without sidetracking too much, I just noticed someone asked, "Are you playing to an amp?" Jimmy, hope you don't mind me calling you out there. Thank you for asking that question, because it's a really good one. What I have as a setup here is I've got two mics just below me, and if I tap on the mic, you'll hear that. And what you're hearing now is the ToneWood amp with the effects coming out of the sound hole, and then you are hearing about 10% of the DI out. So I am using the output jack on the ToneWood amp, and you're hearing about 10% of that and about 90% of the actual acoustic guitar sound through the mics. If you want to hear what that sounds like with and without, we can do that. But yeah, the reason I'm doing that is because it's a really nice way to show kind of how the stage functionality works in the ToneWoodAmp2, and we're going to get to that in a bit. But yeah, we will be sharing settings. I noticed that's another question that's super relevant. We're talking about settings here, and if we've got a setting that we like, so I've got this preset called Imagine Reverb. In a soon amount of time, we'll be able to export effects presets and share that with people, which is something that I'm excited to do. And I've got a bank of little presets that I'm hoping when ToneWoodAmp go live with this, Ofer will share with all you lovely people. So shall I do a song and then we'll take it from there?
Sure.
Cool. This is Ofer's request, actually. This is called Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for staking in here. Yes, I am using a Maton right now, and yes, it does sound great, but I'm quite confident down to this little ToneWood amp. So yeah, that was Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and yeah, it was basically Tommy Emmanuel's version with a couple of bits that he doesn't do and I don't do. Yeah, so let's drill in. Thank you, appreciate that. Thanks so much, and thank you everyone in the chat here. I really appreciate it. So let's kind of run through the effect that I was using there, because I was really only using one effect. I've got the reverb on, and for those in the distant future that maybe happen to watch this stream back, these are the settings if you have your ToneWood amp in your hand ready to go. I'm using a length of 75, and the length is changing how long the decay is. So if I was to do a really short length, it kind of stops quite quickly. If I make a really long one, you get that crazy sound. So that's the length. I think that was on 75 or somewhere around there. We also have the room type. So there's 3 room types. You've got like a room reverb, is what I would call it. I think you've called it is like an acoustic reverb, because it kind of sounds a little bit more than just a room, and that's like a nice ambience that it adds. And then you have a hall reverb, which is a big expansive hall space, and you can change between 3 different, I guess, size halls. And then you also have the plate, and it's the same again. You see whether you've got like a little dot is like one size plate, and then the big dot is the largest one. And I'm using the largest size plate reverb for this. And then I've got the reverb turned fully up. I've got the high frequency dampening at about 10. That's just basically going to reduce some of the top end you get on the reverb. And then I've got the pre-delay of 60. So that's my settings right now. There is more to it than that. But just to kind of, I've just seen a comment there, actually. It's a really good one. It's how user-friendly is it for people who have never used effects before? I pledge for one because I dabble in effects without investing in an amp and pedal. And you've got a really good point. And I see how much effort that Ofer and the ToneWoodAmp team put in to make this user-friendly. It's definitely, would you argue it's the hardest challenge to make something that's this comprehensive user-friendly?
Yeah, it's how you prioritize things, I guess. Yeah. So, you know, actually, when you look here on this interface that you just now are using, there are the most basic things right now. It's the length of the reverb. It's the tone of the reverb. This is the knob on the right side, the dampening. You can even see there is kind of a white dot on the left and black dot on the right, which try to portray it as very bright or a dark tone of the reverb. And the one below is the pre-delay, which basically just said when this reverb will respond to your playing. It's not a delay, it just give it a little bit a delayed response to make it sound more natural the way it will be in real physical space. But for those that really wants to dive even deeper, there is the advanced settings, and that gives you much more controls, and those are definitely things we didn't have with the previous unit. And here you can do a lot in terms of crossover, which frequencies you want to boost up in the delay, which frequencies you want to eliminate in the high frequencies, the low frequencies, and even add some modulation on top. So lots of creative ways to create in a very fundamental or in a nuance. Kind of I think for the reverb.
The beauty of the interface and the beauty of the app is how easy it makes and how kind of fun it makes it to like play around a little bit. You know, play around, find effects that you like, save them as a preset. Or if you just end up in a dark place that you don't want to be in, you can just reset and start again with your preset building. And what I really love about it is it gives players the ability to drill down if they want. But you know, if I just want a reverb on, when I took this ToneWoodAmp out of the box and I plugged it in and turned on a reverb, the default settings that are applied to the ToneWoodAmp sound good. So without even needing to go and drill into the actual reverb, I actually don't really, I can get a good sound without doing that. And then for those who want to dive in, I love the advanced settings, because this is where like some of the personal taste becomes quite strong. And I've got a good example. Ofer is a huge fan of like a modulation on a reverb. A modulation is kind of changing the way that the ToneWoodAmp, the reverb dissipates, and adding kind of like various like pitch modulations, and like kind of like a sparkle is the best way I would describe it. And Ofer loves that sound, whereas I do not. So when I got the ToneWoodAmp2 and I collected it up and I played around with it, I was like, nope, that one thing there is not for me. But I can totally see how a lot of players would find that really, really nice. So yeah, you have all these advanced settings, and right now I haven't really messed with these, but besides changing the modulation to having it super low, I've just got the reverb on and these settings here, and I guess that's just one effect, you know. To kind of elaborate on the question, if I want to add a delay, I can slide it up on the app, and now I have a delay, and I can change the volume of it, so you can hear I've got a delay there as well as a reverb. And that is a whole effect within itself. If I open up that effect, I can change common things about a delay. You can change the tempo, so this is how fast those repeats are. And then you can change the quantity of repeats. So if I have this number really high, it will keep going, you know, for a long time.
That's a good idea, where you can show them the solo function where they hear only the delay.
Yeah. So like Ofer was saying there, right now you're hearing reverb and the delay, but you're hearing the delay go through the reverb. If I wanted to just hear the delay to fiddle around with how that effect sounds, I can hit that solo button, and now I'm just listening to the delay. I can turn that effect up just so you can hear it in a larger volume. But the tempo is obviously changing the pace of that. So if I go really fast, and I'm at quarter notes there, but I could go to eighth notes. And some songs you don't know what tempo you really want this to be at, but you can tap your foot to the song, you know, that's sometimes the case. And now one feature that I really, really love, and I think I don't know how I could live without it now, is having the tap tempo on the app. So let's say I have a song, I can tap the tap tempo to the beat of the song. This is where people realize how bad my rhythm is, because I'm like deviating by a couple of BPM every tap. And now I have a delay at that tempo. That's really useful if you've got a song that you're trying to get a good delay for. It's really super, super useful. And then just to elaborate on the series and parallel thing, because you know, we could sit here and talk for hours about the different sounds you can get out of this. But one of the things that is, in my opinion, the most game changing with this, as well as being able to run effects in like at the same time, you can now choose to run them in series or parallel. So to describe what that means, you know, right now I have a delay on and I have a reverb on, and you can see by the little arrows that the delay is running into the reverb. So the sound you're getting right now is the delay sound with the reverb on. So it sounds like this. It's subtle. Let me turn the delay up a little bit so you got more of that. So you'll be hearing those repeats in the delay have a reverb to them. But if you didn't want that, you can run them in parallel, which allows the reverb source to be clean and the delay source to be clean. So you can see by the little arrow that the delay is routing down and around everything else in the chain. So now if I play again,
your volume is very low.
Oh, volume's low.
It's time to mention that for the series and the parallel, each one has its own independent volume. Yeah. So that's why it's happening.
Yeah. So when I'm switching there between series or parallel, it's adjusting to the volume that was saved. So now I'm hearing a dry delay, but I'm hearing a wet reverb on the first thing. So that's super useful. You can do that with the chorus as well, so you can run that a series or parallel, and it's a feature that, like another one that now that we've got it, it's pretty hard to live without. But Michael's just asked, can we change the order of the pedals in the chain? So at the minute, no, we can't.
At the minute we can't. Wow.
At the minute we can't, but you can, for example, run both the chorus and the delay outside of the chain. The only one that has basically no choice but to have an effect before it is the tremolo, which, you know, to
Right.
me
The tremolo is the last in the chain. And
yeah.
again, that those changes that people are asking, it's something in the works. So later on with firmware updates and with app related to those firmware updates, we will be able to add more flexibility. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, we've talked about 4 different effects there, but when we actually get into this, it's an unlimited amount of combinations, really. You can combine all these effects at once at varying levels of volume and get some really cool sounds out of it. And then when you've got an effect that you're happy with, you hit the save preset button, name it something, and there we go. Now I can come back and recall this effect whenever I like. I can also share it with Ofer. I can share it with you good people. I have all the options to do that. Yeah, Mike said, you know, I think you'll be amazed how easy it is, the learning curves that comes when you're customizing effects. Yeah, I think you're right. When you like play around with it and you get it in your hands and you give it a go, you'll start to realize what's important to you and what settings you like. So yeah, one thing that I did see.
Yeah, sorry for cutting you.
Okay.
What's really important to tell everybody that they need to understand is that the app is 100% a great user interface for the ToneWood amp, but you don't really have to use it.
Yeah.
You have a display. Hopefully, I'm showing it.
Yeah, let me make you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You do have a display and you have buttons, and I will say 98% of what you can do with the app you can do from this interface. It works a little bit different, obviously, but you are not really dependent on the app. So especially if you already dialed your sound and you just need to do small adjustments like turning on and off effects or turning volume up and down things, it's so easy to do it from this interface. You don't even need to take your phone out of your pocket.
Yeah, and the 2 update live as well. So, you know, I can turn off the reverb, and you'll see I'm pressing the button. If you look at the app that's side by side, when I turn on the reverb, there we go, it's on. I can turn these off and on without having to use the app. So, yeah, it's a really important thing. Now, there is maybe a small percentage of things that you can't do from the device, and that's where having the app becomes super useful. I did see someone mention that, but once you've set it up for the first time, it's actually kind of rare that you might need to even see those. So yeah, there's more to it than that. There's so many different things packed in this little device. I did see a good point about feedback, and I think the person might have noticed that I'm using a Maton guitar here, and Matons are notorious for feedback. So I think that might be why they've thought of that. It's a great point, and this new device has a load of new things to try and mitigate feedback, and so much so that I actually barely even think about it now. So you can see that I'm in the main home screen on the app, but if I press the little hamburger menu, I think people in America call it a hamburger menu, don't they? If I press that little menu, this opens up the guitar settings and main menu. I can hop into guitar profiles to adjust the profiles. There's also the feedback assassin there, which is going to help mitigate that feedback. So
there is another way to get to those things. If you close the menu for a second, Connor, there is that icon under the tremolo.
Yeah.
Not this one, the gray icon.
Input settings, yeah. Yeah, you got a good point.
And you can actually show here all the tools that we have, which is, there is the master gain, of course. There is what you call the feedback assassin, which is basically a dynamic feedback cancellation mechanism that run dynamically all the time, in addition to more notch filters that you can show a bit later. But here, number 3, if people see, the low frequency limiter is a dedicated tool that's just designed to work with low frequencies and making sure that those low frequencies are coming nice with the ToneWood amp. And number 4 is all those notch filters. Can you scroll a little bit more
Yep.
down? Yeah. So you can see that there are like 6 notch filters, and each one of those has a control of what kind of course, the frequency, the cut, and the width of each one. Can you open one of those, Connor?
Yep.
Maybe let's do. So it will be interesting to show that in the frequency knob, the one that at the top left,
Hmm.
there are different ways how you can dial it. One way, if you click on the value itself, is that on the value? It's hard for me to see here.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can actually type the number, but a better way even than that is clicking on the microphone icon. And the microphone icon, basically, it's supposed to hear the frequency of the guitar and choose the frequency for you. I'm not
Mhm.
sure why it's not happening for you there.
I think that did adjust it. That did adjust it.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it
Okay.
did. It did. It
Okay.
just did it. It just did it very quickly. Yeah. So I mean, that's. I think when I first got the ToneWood amp, what I did is I went through these settings and set them up for my guitar, and then saved that as a preset. Um, and yeah, I've ended up on like this notch filter arrangement, which I think might be pretty close to the default. Um, but really, I think the feature that blows my mind the most is the feedback assassin, because this just works and it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily affect the sound in a negative way. Like I've played a few guitars before where they have like a feedback elimination feature, or amplifiers that have a feedback elimination feature, and they often like kind of color the sound. This doesn't seem to have that much of an impact, especially not acoustically. So it's really nice to have that feature. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit to answer your question about feedback. There is a lot more control in this new device that allows you to mitigate against that. Um, yeah,
Not to mention that you can save unlimited number of guitar presets. So if you are a
yeah,
person that collect like 50 guitars, and you can use one ToneWood amp on any of those guitars and save the presets of the gain and the feedback and everything else that related to that
yeah,
guitar. Yeah.
yeah. And there's been another question posted, and I think the next place to go to is the new section that you've been adding. If you don't mind me showing that to the people. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, I'm running the output jack here on the ToneWoodAmp2, and that's just to give you guys a little bit more of the actual ToneWoodAmp sound. I'm going to go back to a preset here that is a little bit more clean. When I plug in, you'll notice that you have a new little bar that loads up on the right-hand side here. If I move this, you'll see it move. That's the dry or wet signal percentage. What this is doing is adjusting how much of the overall effects I'm getting in my output jack versus the dry signal. So it's just like a big blend thing for your master effects, basically. But another thing, which actually Ofer doesn't seem to be loading for me right now, is the little plus icon. Oh,
Yeah,
there we
there
go.
it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So when you plug in, you have this little plus icon that opens up at the bottom. It recognizes that you're basically ready to plug into another amp or a PA system to do a gig or whatever, and then you have this new menu open up to you. So this menu is purely for the DI that comes out of the ToneWoodAmp into whatever speaker system that you're going into. You have a couple of really cool things here that basically take your ToneWoodAmp beyond just being a cool box to play acoustically with. You have an EQ, just like you would on a really nice acoustic amp. You can control the frequency of those various bands of EQ. So I've got like a low band on the left hand side here, and I can adjust the level of that. I also have the ability to select a mid frequency and cut or boost those two, and then also the same with the high frequency. So this is just within the EQ section alone. There's also the ability to boost your level. So let's say that you're playing a solo in a song and you want to be able to really quickly boost it. You can boost it there, and then you also have the ability to flip the phase. Now we'll not get too in depth on what that means really, but for those of you who are acoustic players who've played live, you might recognize that sometimes you need to flip the phase to get a good sound or to mitigate against feedback. So that's That's a really nice feature to have. And then you also have control of the feedback assassin within this menu as well.
Right.
So yeah, these are all really quite exciting features to have in. Sorry, I'm getting a call. These are all really exciting features to have in the ToneWoodAmp, and now it takes it from a more of an acoustic box at home to something you can really gig with. So yeah, that's super exciting. Is there anything you want to add about that?
Well, just if we're already here, let's show the other tools that they have, because there is a compressor that based on presets. So again, if you're on stage and you need to apply compressor, just you have 3 different presets for those. Depends how you play and how you want to use it. And we have a low frequency, a low cut, also based on some presets. That's new. That very similar interface. And the last one, it's additional notch filter, which again, many of you, if you perform on stage, many of those preamps has this notch filter. So this is really a similar notch filter to what we have when you go on stage, but really one that was designed, dedicated for stage performance.
Yeah, so that's kind of, when you plug in, you now have all of those tools, and that's something that quite literally a month or so ago we didn't have. So that's really exciting development and something that I'm looking forward to using. And I did see someone ask for another example of series and parallel. So if it's okay with you, Ofer, maybe we do another song and try and build an effect preset together.
Sure.
So what I've got here, I'm going to play a Chet Atkins tune. I don't know if there's any Chet Atkins and Tommy Manuel fans in the audience, but if there is, say hello, because it's good to know that you're there. What we're going to do is we're going to build a preset that tries to give us a bit of a old-fashioned chorusy sound. So I've started with a preset I already had, just because it had some settings in here that I quite like. And let's crank up the chorus just so we can hear what that sounds like in a blend with all the effects.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, sounds cool.
Yeah, and this is parallel. So this chorus actually is not going through the reverb.
And let's push it through the reverb and compare what it sounds like different. So that's parallel, and that's running in series.
Right. Yeah. You might want to even the volume, because again, each mode has its own volume.
So I'm hearing that chorus now as part of the reverb.
Yeah.
And we can run the delay in the same chain as well. Let's actually increase this, and let's increase the amount of repeats just so you can really hear it. So yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit crazy there, maybe too crazy. So let's knock this down a little bit and tame it. I think for the purpose of this song, I'm gonna run the delay in parallel. It's pretty close. I'm gonna reduce the level of the chorus a little bit.
I mean, this is a perfect scenario to show how you have a combination of number of effects, but you really want to listen to the delay only. And you can use the solo feature and adjust.
Exactly. So if I want to listen to just it. And what I'm trying to go for there, if you can't tell, is like a fast,
a very short
delay.
slap delay.
It's subtle, but it just adds a bit of percussion and a bit of I don't know, something a little interesting to the sound. And if I just unsolo that, you can hear it kind of playing a part in all the effects now. But yeah, we'll do this little tune, and then we can talk about how you might take this a step further. But if anyone has any questions while I'm playing this little tune, please just drop them in the chat. I'd love to answer them.
Yeah, we can go after. Somebody asked about the lift kit, I think, so we can, after the song, show how it works.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. That sounds good. Yeah, yes, Chet and Tommy appreciate it. Okay, good. Well, I actually just listened to the original recording of this tune a few days ago, and it's just so good. It's so good, and I definitely can't play it like those guys did, but I'm gonna give it a good shot. I'm actually gonna drop the chorus effect a little bit. Okay, this is To Be or Not to Be. Thanks, everyone.
Just so nice.
That's fun.
I just
That's
enjoy
just fun.
listening to you when you play.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Did
I
we
would never...
introduce-
Say that again?
Did we introduce Nick?
No, but we will. We will. We definitely
Okay.
will. We'll do that in a few minutes. How
Okay.
about that?
Sure.
Just to kind of like get across the point, I would not necessarily always be running effects in a crazy way like that. It sounds quite literally insane sitting here and hearing those effects come out of the sound hole. There's something really just surreal about that. I mean, the ToneWoodAmp solo was excellent. Old version was excellent, but this, like the actual way this feels on the guitar it's pretty surreal, and it kind of inspires you to step out your comfort zone and play things that are a little bit out there and add effects that are a little bit maybe excessive sometimes, just because it's fun. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. But we have Nick, who is the support master at ToneWoodAmp, and he is the guy that spends his time answering your questions. He's the front man, helping everybody with the ToneWoodAmp. So we're going to bring him on. Is that okay with you, Nick? You ready? Cool. Welcome. You all right?
Hey, Nick.
Hi, all. How
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good. Yeah, thanks for all the hard work you do. I know you chat to a lot of people on a daily basis, helping them get set up with the ToneWoodAmp, and it's good to know that you're there for everyone.
Yep, of course.
How long you been there before?
So I in March it will be 7 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
A long time, Nick.
it's been a long time. And I must say, in my experience with the ToneWoodAmp2, just to kind of echo what Connor was saying, the ToneWoodAmp, the first generation, was a wonderful piece of kit and is a wonderful piece of kit. The ToneWoodAmp2 really takes things to the next level. It really, it has the potential to completely replace your pedal board, and it just is a wonderful piece of gear. It sounds great. I've been using it a lot. Really excited for everyone to give it a shot.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like I say, I'm ultimately just a guitarist based in England that loves using the ToneWoodAmp, and through doing that, I've become quite good friends with Ofer and Alini and Nick, and it's been really, really lovely to see the progression of this new unit, and yeah, I'm excited with what's to come. But on the topic of like new additions, I know we've gone a lot into this whole app thing. Do you want to talk about the Express? Not the Express, sorry, the lift kit. Do you want to talk about the lift kit and what that?
I can actually cover some of this. Yeah,
because I imagine, Nick, you've helped a lot of people over the years set up the ToneWoodAmp2,
yes.
And I think one of the problems the ToneWoodAmp Solo, one of the problems that could occur is someone's got quite a curved back guitar, and it wouldn't exactly get the best sound right out of the box. So, Ofer, present your solution to the problem.
All right. So, can you give me maybe the full screen so they will be able to see the details?
Let me do that.
That's way. You.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Thank you. So, one of the things that we added to the new ToneWoodAmp is something that we call is the lift kit, which is basically, and I apologize for this label, that's for me, but which is basically the bottom part of the ToneWoodAmp is actually removable, and it can go in a different angle. And if you guys see, there are some grooves here, and those basic grooves allow you to lock that area in an angle. And there are different angles that you can do. I can go to the most extreme one, and you can see now how the bottom is angled. And to show you a good example will be the GS Mini, which I'll bring one in a second.
Let me switch to you.
So here is a Taylor GS Mini, and now you can see how this one is really adhered to it. That's actually a bit extreme, but I'm sure you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm between the camera and myself, so I can see what I'm showing.
I think you can see it clearly there, and I think that's a new neat thing. Like, I've never really ran into the issue where I would really need that, but I know some people with curved back guitars, you really need that new feature. And I think, again, I don't want to be overstepping my boundaries here, but I think you're working on a version for the Ovation as well. So the thing here is that because this one is a detachable piece, we are basically planning to have a specific unique piece that will be for Ovations. Yeah.
And that's basically going to be some source for other attachments that we're thinking about in the future, but not too much to say about it right now.
Yeah. And yes, it does come included. The ToneWoodAmp body actually involves the lift kit, so you do have that lift kit in the ToneWoodAmp2. It's nothing you need to purchase externally. I think the only thing you'd have to purchase in addition down the line is maybe the Ovation version, but we'll see how that pans out.
We will see how that works. Correct.
So I think that's most of the things I think I've seen in here in terms of questions. If there's anything else that you guys want to see or hear, or effects that you want to hear in different combinations, then please let us know. Funny enough, Turtle the Mighty, good name, said, can you put it on slightly curved back guitars like a Taylor? Yeah, that's the exact example that Ofer's just presented. It was a Taylor guitar that had quite a curved back. So shall we do one more song and then finish off?
Just for everybody to know, there are more questions here that we couldn't answer, but Nick will follow up after this live stream, and he will answer everything that related to support questions.
Yeah, Nick, go Nick.
Oh, I'm typing away. One quick thing, if anybody has any questions at all about ToneWoodAmp2, first generation ToneWoodAmp, contact me please via the website or by phone. I'm happy to hop on a call with you, walk you through anything, make sure everything's sounding the way it should. And then I did see one comment from way early in the stream regarding the display. The new display is an improvement. And if you're having trouble with the first one, please contact me at support@ToneWoodAmp.com. I can get you set up with a replacement.
Yeah.
Legend.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nick. I appreciate you hopping in here and saying hello to everyone. I'll see you in a bit. Yeah, cool. Right, we'll do one more song, and then we will leave everyone. But if there's any questions while I'm playing this last song, please just shout up. I actually created a preset for this exact song, and it's that.
What song
Imagine.
is that?
This is Imagine. Let me pop this up.
Oh,
so
okay.
I created a preset for it, and to dive into my preset, I'm going to turn on a little bit delay as well because I feel like it'd be fun. I've got. These are my settings. I've got the length at 75. I've got the high dampening at 10%. I've got the plate reverb on the largest plate reverb, and the pre-delay at about 60. So that's the basic settings. Oh, one thing again, which I should have mentioned, is these are my advanced settings for anyone who has the ToneWoodAmp now watching this in the past. The only thing that I consciously changed in here is I have the modulation down to 0. So I also have a delay on. If we listen to what that sounds like.
Connor, if I can just add one thing regarding what you said.
Yep.
While not in the first version of the app, the follow update will have also the option of sharing presets between users.
Yeah. That's something that I know, that is something that's a big part of this app. And I think no doubt down the line we'll have a web page where we'll share some artist presets, and because I think that's what it's all about. I think with this new app, the biggest plus is the fact that we can be a lot more collaborative about it. So yeah, let's do this song, and we'll go from there. Go drop D. Cool. So this is Imagine by John Lennon. Gonna increase the amount of reverb by a little bit. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
That's a good request. I'm totally for it.
Thank you so much, and thanks everyone for joining us. I know we sent out an email to some people that say we're doing this, and I know it was last minute, but I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for having me, Ofer. It's a pleasure to do this, and it's really nice to see your audience engaged. So,
thank you. Oh, you're awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. Any final things?
Yeah. When are you coming to the US and perform here?
I'd love to. I'd love to. I'm actually in LA in January for NAMM show. So if there's on the off chance anyone's there at NAMM show, please drop me a message. And then for those people who are in the UK, I didn't see someone saying, was I the person at the London Guitar Show? Yes, I was. We're actually doing the Merseyside Guitar Show on the 1st of December as well. So if you're in the UK, please come back to that one. It'd be cool to see you there. Jimmy, I would love to come to the States. I would absolutely love to do more gigs in the States. So the second there is an opportunity, I will be there because I love being over there. But yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I will let you have a lovely evening, everyone. Thank you so much. If there's any questions that you've got about the new ToneWoodAmp2, you can get in touch with Ofer, with Nick, with myself. More than happy to answer any questions. And yeah, have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Connor. Hey, one last thing. I just came to me an idea, kind of ambushing you for a second, but
okay.
I love the way you do harmonics, and I think lots of people would love to learn how it's done. How about we will set up a time and maybe we do a lesson with the ToneWoodAmp, but we hear exactly how to do harmonics correctly.
Yeah. That would be cool. Great. Yeah. I think that would be good. If anyone would like to see that, just let us know. But maybe we can do that sometime next week or the week after. We'll do a bit of a dive into harmonics.
Yeah, please. That would be
cool.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nick.
Enjoy your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.